Hello and welcome to another Bad Comic Review. Today we are looking at Ectokid issue 2. This is from Marvel's Razorline imprint, which are all characters created by Clive Barker. And this one is done by the same team as last time. We've got James Robinson writing, Steve Scocci penciler, Bob Dvorak inker, Gaspar letterer, John Clazies colorist, Mark McLaren editor, and on. Tom DeFalco was editor-in-chief at the time. Anyway, we open with a preview of what's coming up, as usual, sort of cliffhanger thing. Dex Mungo is facing off with some weird-looking monster thing. Alright, that's not really the crux of the story. The story is actually a lot of character building. We've got Dex hiding out at like an apartment of some kind, and he's made it back, obviously, to this apartment. He's trying to figure out if he inherited his mother's madness, but he figures out that his eyes, which I didn't realize were two different colors, one eye lets him see into the ectosphere, which is where people go when they die, and the other eye sees our reality. So in order to figure out what's going on, he has to go talk to his mother. And to do this, he goes to see Bales, a lawyer that was retained to be his guardian. And Bales likes to paint horror action figures or models of some kind. He likes to do these, so it's an interesting character trait. I'm pretty sure that guy will come back up later. But he already signed over the permission slip to go see his mother, and it's the only way he's going to get in. Even Bales doesn't know who hired him to be the guardian. Unsure of whether or not he should actually go see his mother, he goes to talk to three of his friends. A bartender guy, some wise old lady who looks like a voodoo priestess, and a stripper of some sort. And they all kind of give him similar advice. You know, it's at some point you're going to have to do this. So he goes to the hospital and he takes a peek at it with his one eye, which he's wearing an eye patch over, and sees it through the ectosphere and sees these horrible pterodactyl things. So he covers his eye back up and goes in. He's led down some creepy hallway. New Orleans, everything about it is creepy, so this is not real surprising. And he sees his mother. As soon as he mentions that he's having visions, she snaps out of her listlessness and starts talking to him. She is apparently really heavily involved in the occult, including like making spells and potions and things. During that time, she summoned a man back from the dead, and they fell in love. That's how he was conceived. So he is the product of a dead man and his living mother, and that's why he can see into the exosphere. That's when he also learns out about the Etherites. They're sort of ghost police that came and got his dad and dragged him back. And she explains to him how he can meditate and leave his body, because when he looks through at the ectosphere with his eye, he goes to the ectosphere even though he's alive. So he actually is in physical danger. But he can leave his body and explore that way. But that leaves his body open to being possessed. Also, his father created a device called the Aurat, A-U-R-A-T, and that's something that can help him in some way, and he hid it, and he didn't want anyone to have it, and that's obviously important because some bad people wanted it, and that's why they're after him. They're after Dex, I should say. Turns out that this machine was built before his father died, and that's why he died, was he was murdered by these bad people that wanted it, and his name is Leo Melhart. Dex hugs his mother and tells her that he's gonna go, and she says when you find him, tell him I still love him. When Dex is on his way out, he meets a creepy looking priest that says, hey, why don't we have a talk about your mother in a quieter place? If a priest tells you to go to a quieter place and it's a dark place, don't go there. No, that's obviously bad things are going to happen to you. And of course they do. This priest is a demon, a rogue demon, and that's the creature that he was fighting on the first 2 pages there. And Dex was lucky enough to glance with his ecto eye and see what was going on. And there's a pretty decent little fight. Dex gets thrown down the stairs, hurts his shoulder, but manages to pull out a boot knife, stab the thing, and then burn it with some hot cinders from a fire. And that's basically the crux of what's really going on. But then we follow up with the 2 assassins that are after him and follow them around. They've killed everybody that was in the bar, everybody that was hanging out with the stripper, even though the stripper's hair is a different color now. And they find the priest. They don't show the old lady, but I think it's fairly implied that she's dead too. Yeah, but Dex is on his way to find his father, so he's in the ectosphere on the last page. And it gives a a little caption that says "Into the Ectosphere" next issue. This issue was a lot of fun, actually. It was a lot of character building and story building, but it was incredibly well paced. It's another great book by James Robinson. I honestly did not like this book when I was younger, but as an adult looking back on it, I have to say it wasn't bad. It was actually pretty well written. It was a very fast paced, fun story, and I'm not normally into a lot of the supernatural comics because usually they're not very good, but this one was really well done, and I'm intrigued to read issue 3. I'm kind of surprised based on this that this didn't get better coverage. I think the cover price of $1.75 really hurt this book because that is significantly more than most comics were at the time. So I think that's its major flaw. Otherwise, the art's pretty good. It's okay. It's not the greatest. There are pages where I don't care for it and the detailing's a little off, but when they do a good job, they do a good job. It has a very surreal feel to it, and I really like that. So be sure to check it out. The cover's misleading, but it's a good issue, and I recommend it. Go check it out. It's easy to track down online. It's not an expensive book. So that'll do it for this one. As always, thanks for joining us, and hopefully we'll see you on the next episode.